There we go. Looks like everything is live. Give me just 1 second here, people. I got to grab the chat. A second here. To everybody, I'm sure that's jumping in right now, just give me 1 moment. I'm pulling up the chat so I can see what everybody's saying. As soon as I find it. There we go. Okay, there we go. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Hey, happy birthday yeah, thank you all for the happy birthday wishes. It's happy to be here. So I figured what I'd do here is 1 second, they're popping out chat. There we go. I got a birthday dinner to go to in like 2 hours, so I figured just for fun, let's stream for 2 hours. So I figured we'll just do a nice little Q&A here. So anything you want me to talk about, just let me know in chat. There we go. I just turned 32 years old, and trust me, it feels odd to be that old. I see people saying, what games are you playing right now? I'm recently playing through the Dot Hack remake they did, the Dot Hack Last Recode. That's really good. I'm playing through a bunch of indie games right now. I want to do a PS4 indie games video soon. So I've been playing a lot of different stuff. And it's good. A lot of stuff. One of those is like this thing called Zen Drifting. Super addictive. Opinion on Persona 5. I'm playing it right now. I think everything about Persona 5 is fantastic. My only tiny gripe, like I gave it a 9.5 when I reviewed it. My only small issue is I do think the save points are a little bit too far apart. In that game, I felt like you can't really play Persona 5 for like an hour at a time. You got to sit down with it like 3 or 4 hours at a time. DreamcastGuy, grow out your beard. It looks good. I'm trying. You can see here I'm trying. My girlfriend really wanted me to try and grow a beard out, so here I am. Have you played Baiten Kaitos before? Yes, I have. I didn't get very far, though. I own it on Dreamcast. I own it on GameCube, though. Let's see here. Will Sega ever make another console? They will not. Sega's just not as big as people seem to think. They've shrunken down a lot as a company. So I feel like they just don't have the financial and physical ability to do it anymore. I would love the idea of it. I would think it's super cool, but I just don't think we're ever going to see it again. It'd be awesome, though. Dreamcast Guy, have you tried Phantasy Star Online 2? No, I haven't. That's the one still only in Japan. I've heard some people super into it playing on the Japanese servers. I haven't yet. I really want to play it when it comes. I feel like it will eventually come to Switch, and when that happens, I'm definitely going to play it. Let's see here. What's your real name? My real name is Max Shockley, which is funny because it sounds like a supervillain name, but I promise that is my real name. Are you going to E3? No, I want to go to E3. The problem is I'm still not a very big YouTuber. While it seems like 97,000 is a humongous amount, and it is because I'm just one guy, E3 doesn't consider that a big person. E3 wants people to basically have millions and millions of subscribers and get millions of views every single month in order to get like the good access. If I went to E3 now, I wouldn't really be able to do much. It's a lot better of a choice for me to instead just be here in my office, watch all the live streams, and just cover it from here. If I went there, I do kind of want to go next year and hire a cameraman so I have somebody to follow me around and help me get in different lines so I can play every single game I can. I see people talking about Shenmue. So here's one gift I actually bought for myself, as cheesy as that is what's Shenmue? This is the demo disc. This is the Shenmue demo disc. And I lost my case for a long time ago, so I bought another copy of What's Shenmue. This is basically a demo that explains what the game is, and you're basically playing as Ryo Hazuki defending the president of Sega, which is him right here on the front of the box being like, it's very weird. I love it, though. Are you going to live stream on your YouTube channel? Wait, this is streaming. Yeah. I probably won't stream any of I won't stream any of like the E3 conferences probably. I might. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to say definitively no, but right now I don't think so. just because if you do live stream it, sometimes they'll like delete the videos later. Like the trailers, watching all the trailers will sometimes get the video flagged and deleted automatically. So I don't want to live stream something if it's just going to immediately disappear anyways. Let's see here. Dreamcast guy, why did you never correct yourself when you said Naughty Dog wasn't owned by Sony? I just didn't know I was wrong. That's the thing is, when you say thousands and thousands and thousands of things on the internet and make literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos, you make small errors here and there. Margaret Evans donated $1.99 and said, I always loved how you interact with your fans. Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the happy birthday. Honestly, I still am just blown away by the idea that I have fans. One of my favorite things in the world is going to conventions because I get to run into people face to face. And it is so freaking cool to just get stopped. Like I was walking around at PAX, this big dude randomly stopped me. And I was like, hey, Dreamcast guy. I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And he just talked about like that he likes to watch all the different podcasts I'm on because he likes to see how I interact with different people. And that was so mind-blowing to me. Just, man, it's so mind-blowing to have fans. What games are you wanting to play most right now, if any? As of this second, Detroit Become Human is really high on the list. I'd say Detroit Become Human's up there. I'm dying for Spider-Man. I feel like I'm not hyped for Spider-Man. I'm ready to play Spider-Man. And I feel like the distinction of that is I'm just so hungry to play it. I don't even want to watch any more trailers. I just want the controller in my hand. What's your favorite Metal Gear game? Now, that's a good question. I am absolutely obsessed with Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I put 200 hours into that on the PlayStation Vita, or sorry, the PSP. In fact, I own multiple copies of it on the PSP. I rebought it in the HD collection they did for the Xbox 360, and then I also own a factory sealed copy just because I love it so much. Let's see here. What's your favorite Fire Emblem game? Let's see. What's my favorite Fire Emblem game? There's a lot of good ones. I'm going to have to say Awakening. I feel like there's been people recently in the Fire Emblem community who don't like Awakening. I think it's too simplistic, but I really do like it. I think Awakening, it has the coolest story in my opinion. I like the art of it a lot, and I like the writing of it a lot. Dreamcast guy, what do you think about moving gaming? See here. I'm going to have to paraphrase your question a bit here since it's long, but what do you think about games moving to digital and how this affects people whose internet providers have data caps? 80 to 100 gigs eats up a lot when you only have 300 a month. Yes, that's actually the biggest concern I have. So I think the idea of games going all digital isn't necessarily negative, but we definitely have to get past that roadblock of a lot of internet company providers are going to have to get with the times. I feel like data caps are going to strangle that. I mean, people are going to end up having to choose to buy a game or pay their internet bill. Sonic Battle Royale. I don't know what that is, and I kind of hope it exists. That sounds super weird. If that's real, holy crap. You should make a top 10 best video game endings. I might do that this coming week. Oh god, which I'm so far behind. I was hanging out all week with my girlfriend and all my friends, so I haven't started writing Top 10 Thursday yet. But this Top 10 Thursday, I want to write about just kind of my favorite games ever, just because I want to celebrate. Six Fingered Jake donated $2 and said, are you doing live E3 2018 streams? No, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the conferences and then do like recap reaction videos where I like watch through it, take really detailed notes as I watch the press conference, and then immediately like film a video talking about what I thought was good and what I thought was bad. The way you guys kind of get a breakdown of my thoughts on each one and what gets me the most hyped. But I'm also not just sitting on camera the whole time being like, oh, ha. Mac DeKnife donated $5 and just said happy birthday. So thank you very much there, DeKnife. What's better, Metal Gear Solid 5 or Assassin's Creed Black Flag? Metal Gear Solid 5. I do like Assassin's Creed Black Flag a lot, though. Dreamcast guy, did you hear rumors of Nier Automata allegedly being ported to the Xbox One? I hope this does not happen. I'm a big fan of anytime stuff gets ported, just because I feel like it's a chance for the developers to put their art in front of more people, especially because Nier Automata is such an interesting game that sold so far beyond expectations. But I'll be honest, I'm not sure the Xbox community would really jump onto that. I'd kind of like to see it ported, just because I'm actually a little bit fascinated by how much the Microsoft community would jump on that. Um, Soul Reaver, arguably the best Dreamcast game. It's up there. I do like Soul Reaver a lot. I especially like the cheesy voice acting where it's like Soul Reaver. Dreamcast guy, how do you budget your video game spending? Now that I have a job and I can spend a lot more on games, as long as I'm saving money and paying bills, am I good? Yes. So my thing, when it comes to budgeting as an adult now, my thing is always definitely set aside your money first. Put money into your savings account at the start of the month. Don't just put the last of your money. So my thing is, I buy games here and there. Like here's one I have one right here, Crusader Senti. But I make sure to only buy stuff when it's really cheap, and then I set a price limit. Like, this is one of the most rare Sega Genesis games. Usually it can cost a couple $100. I waited till I found it for $20 just to make sure that I would not be wasting money, because you always want to put every penny you can in savings, because when bad times come, you want to be able to survive them. El Comanche, a good friend of mine, donated $1.99 and said, "Happy birthday, brother. So happy to celebrate with you." Thank you so much there, Comanche. Anthony Sarami donated $1 Canadian. Thanks so much, Anthony. Happy birthday, Dreamcast guy. Love your vids. Keep it up, you rock. I love this so much. I'll be honest, this is so fun for me. I always love the chat. The chat's always so hyped. Dreamcast guy, what games from the long forgotten series do you want back? Mine are F-Zero, Banjo, and Banjo-Kazooie 3, Sonic Adventure 3, and Mother, aka Earthbound, and Borderlands 3. I can definitely say with full certainty that Borderlands 3 exists, and we're going to see it soon. I live really close to the studio that makes that, so I definitely have friends who end up working at their studio, and I definitely hear stuff. So Borderlands 3 definitely exists. I would really like to see a Mother 3 finally come to America. I'd like to see that as like a big, fancy, actual remake, though. Like, it'd be cool if they did like an HD trilogy, like the Mother trilogy. That'd be great. What are your favorite 3D Sonic games? Off the top of my head, I really do love Sonic Adventure. I do think Sonic Adventure is really, really, really good. Trying to think. I mean, Sonic Mania was great, but that was a 2D one. I'd have to probably give it to Sonic Adventure 1 or 2. Troy Crashshank just donated $5 Canadian. Thank you very much, Troy. Y'all are also nice. Let's see here. Happy birthday, man. Also, I'm sure I'm one of the people who asked about God of War back at Retropalooza, says Nathaniel Foga. Yes, Retropalooza. I go to Retropalooza every single year, and I always get the absolute best questions. Dreamcast guy, what do you think of the first Dot Hack series? What do you think if the first Dot Hack series was remastered with online co-op play? I'd love that. So I feel like a lot of people don't know this, but there actually was a real version. So in the Dot Hack games, which you can see in my background here because I love them so much, all 7 of the Dot Hack American games, in the games, basically there is a digital massive MMO called The World, and they actually created a version of it only in Japan called Dot Hack Fragment. I've always wanted to see an actual version of Dot Hack Fragment come out in America where we could actually go around in the world. So I'd love to see that. I don't know if we ever will, though. Six Finger Jake donated another $2 and said, 2018 game you're most excited for. Happy B-Day. Let me think. What is a super hyped? I have to say, as cheesy as Shenmue 3. Like, I'm still so amazed that Shenmue 3 is real. And the fact that it's going to be coming out in 2018, I feel like it might not be the best game of the year. There's definitely going to be stuff that's better than it, both in storytelling aspects and everything else. But it's still so cool to me just because that game means so much to me personally. Zelen said, do you think we'll see the Final Fantasy VII Remake at E3 this year? No, I don't. With all the rumors of troubled development, I will be extremely impressed if that comes out of the closet and gets seen. as I've said in like 3 different videos now, what I want the most is for them to come out, show a big trailer of it, and then immediately give us a demo. More than anything, I feel like they need to reassure us of the fact that this isn't stuck in development hell. Games donated $1.99 and says, have you played SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom? No, I haven't, but I own it. Everybody talks about that game, and I can't tell if they're joking, so I bought a copy for like 60 cents. Dreamcast Guy, happy birthday. Are you pumped for Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection coming later this month? I'm hyped for it. I don't think I'll make a video on it. This month is so crammed, and I don't want to rush any projects, so I'll probably buy that and play it a lot, especially with my friends. I love beating them up in fighting games, but I probably won't get a chance to really like cover it. Dreamcast Guy, how come all the big anime YouTubers seem to have 1 million subs each, and you only have 100K subs since gaming is far more mainstream? The problem with being a gaming YouTuber is that it's some crazy number, like 80% of all of YouTube is gaming videos. So it's hard to grow as a gaming channel because there are so many options. I mean, I'm probably subscribed to 60 different gaming channels. You're probably all subscribed to like 60 different gaming channels. So it's hard to get seen and noticed in such an ocean of possibilities. Whereas anime channels are a little more niche. So the people who get good at it skyrocket to the top. I am so happy I'm going to get to 100. So no, 100,000 is just nuts. I think what I want to do is, I think I'm going to clear out some of the games in the background here. Maybe this one here. And I'm going to put my plaque right there. That way, when I film all my videos, you can see my 100,000 plaque. Dreamcast Guy, do you think that we'll get GTA 5 on Switch at E3? Not at E3, but maybe. I think it's going to be in a direct. I do think it exists. I definitely think GTA 5 on Switch is also going to be really interesting because I feel like they can't emphasize microtransactions nearly as much. Magical Ranter 224 says, do you play Fortnite a lot? Yeah, some people would say too much. I saw that they are doing a big Avengers crossover this month, which is mind-blowing. Like, Fortnite has gotten so big that Marvel themselves has noticed. I was like, I'm grabbing my drink. We should promote Max's channel on Twitter. I would appreciate that. Anytime you guys post my videos anywhere, it really does help me a lot. Hey, Dreamcast Guy, been a fan since 2015. Thank you so much. It's crazy that I've been doing videos so long. It feels so good. I'm so happy with how far the channel has gotten. It's so cool. I don't know. I still feel like that guy making videos like on his bed, like I was doing so many years ago. And now I have like a fancy office. Do you think Dead Space 2 is better than Dead Space 3? Yeah, 100%. And if anybody disagrees, they're nuts. Dead Space 2 is awesome. Dreamcast Guy, do you think that Kingdom Hearts 3 will come out this year? Yeah, I think it has to come out this year. They don't have a choice. They absolutely, like, they've talked about it so much. They cannot delay it at this point. Dreamcast Guy, do you possess any rare Dreamcast games? Yes, I own every Dreamcast game. I own all 246 North American Dreamcast games. I own a lot of the super rare stuff. Like there's the original limited edition Shenmue 2 in Japanese, which includes a demo disc for Virtual Fighter. Yes, I own a lot of very rare Dreamcast stuff, including stuff like this is the unreleased Half-Life game that they made for the Dreamcast. This is a real game. Totally play it start to finish. I actually beat this. Oh man, if they did a crossover, Dreamcast Guy, if they did a crossover of Skies of Arcadia as an RPG of Golden Sun and Skies of Arcadia, would you play it? Oh my God, that would be crazy. Holy dude, if that was a real game, that would be insane. Whoa. I mean, I love the world of Skies of Arcadia a lot. I like the combat a lot of Skies of Arcadia and Golden Sun. I feel like Golden Sun's story is so cool. I love the way the magic works in that world of people having like psi energy. That would be so cool. Guy, what fan translated games did you play? I've played a lot of fan translated games. I like a lot of the fan translated Super Nintendo stuff. Like this is the fan translation of The Legend of Zelda and the Ancient Stone Tablets. This was originally only on the satellite system in Japan. So of course you have to play a fan translation of it. An American version doesn't exist. Dreamcast Guy, did you get a birthday cake? No, Anthony, I did not get a birthday cake. Oh, no, actually, wait, no, that's a lie. I'm sorry. Last night, my girlfriend took me out to the fanciest dinner of my entire freaking life. And we got like a special blueberry cake with ice cream on top as the dessert. And it was insane. That was the fanciest meal of my entire life. How much have you played of God of War? 54 hours now. I've beaten the game twice, and on my third playthrough, I've started killing the Valkyries, which are like the optional bosses. And I'll be honest, they kicked my butt so bad, I took a break from it. And now I'm working out a bunch of reviews now. Like my Dragon's Crown Pro review comes out tomorrow. I'm playing a lot of Destiny right now because I have to do a Destiny video on Wednesday. Mela asks, do you watch My Hero Academia? Funny enough, yes. That is actually the only anime I watch right now. I'm really actually into it, though. My Hero Academia, I heard someone describe My Hero as an anime for people who are tired of anime, and it is. In my opinion, it really scratches that itch of I want to see cool heroes, and I want to see interesting powers, and I want to see a dramatic story. My Hero really hits those notes for me, and I wouldn't have expected I would like it so much because I'm not really an anime person, but man, Academia is really good. Let's see here. Dreamcast Guy, Dead Space Trilogy on Switch, is it possible? Engine-wise, yes. I don't think EA wants to do it. The fact that EA shut down the people who are making it, Visceral Games, makes me think that they don't really care for it. Dreamcast Guy, do you think we'll ever get Shadow of Mordor version of A Song in Ice and Fire? That would be so cool. It's weird to me that we haven't seen a really high quality Game of Thrones game, but I kind of understand. Game of Thrones is so much about the talking more than the battles, and that's something that's hard to convey with video games. Like my buddy right now, my buddy Nick, shout out to Nick if you're somehow seeing this, is just picked up the Yakuza series because he's seen me. I beat every Yakuza game in the last 2 years, basically, and he's watched me play a lot of them, and he had no idea they were so good, so he's really diving into them now. And Yakuza is a game that's unique because it's more about the side quests and side activities than the real story itself. And I've always felt like Game of Thrones is like that. Game of Thrones is about the side stuff more than the big fights. It's about the betrayals and the story. And so I feel like if we ever got a good Game of Thrones game, it's going to be like Yakuza. And you can quote me on that. You can say, Dreamcast Guy said Yakuza is the best Game of Thrones game. Dreamcast Guy, does Nintendo really need story-driven games like Sony? I would like it. I would like some more of it. I was thinking the other day about how strange it is that Nintendo, in a way, champions gameplay over everything. Oh, and especially in their marketing. Like their marketing, they never reveal any little tidbits of plot or dialogue. They usually just show like gameplay. So it kind of makes it where now somebody like Sony and Microsoft, well, much less Microsoft, but mostly Sony, have kind of become the kings of the single player, super narrative heavy experiences. Like Uncharted is just basically a shooty story. I'd like to see both though. I just want to see, my thing is I just want to see Nintendo try it because Nintendo does stuff so well. Gloom just donated $5 and said, happy birthday. Hope you have a good one. It's been an amazing one. And actually, I'm doing this live stream for another 90 minutes or so. And then I'm going to go out to dinner with my brother, who I haven't seen in like a year. So clearly it's going to be a very good birthday. If you could make a game, what type of mechanics would you incorporate in the gameplay? I have a game that I want to make. I probably shouldn't say too much. I do have a game that I want to make, and I have the story written, and I have the gameplay idea. I've always kind of wanted to make a game, though, that plays on the idea of video games. I've always wanted to make a video game. How can I say this without spoiling my video game idea? I've always wanted to make a video game where the story is that you are sucked into a video game, and then we can kind of play with the rules a little bit. Have it where as you level up, it has like a silly line, and have it where sometimes you could be going into different worlds or even different genres, and have a level where you're playing in a first-person shooter and your guy's like, well, this is really weird. And then it goes into a turn-based RPG, and the character would be able to carry over because he's a meta narrative. Edward Norton donated $1.99 and said, happy birthday, Dreamcast guy. Awesome content. Well, thank you very much. I always like those birthday compliments. Shadows Die Twice is a Tenchu reference. That could be. M. Williams is talking about From Software's next project, which people like me think that it could be Bloodborne 2, but very likely could end up being a new Tenchu, which what I would still love. I love Tenchu. I haven't beaten very many of the Tenchu games, I'll be fully honest, but the ones I have played are awesome. 10th Jen donated $5 and said, happy birthday, Dreamcast guy. Hope you have many more. Me too, man. I'm trying to live as long as I possibly can. And if I keep drinking these sodas, I'll probably die by accident. Dreamcast guy, how did you get your name? Is Dreamcast your favorite console? Yes, it is. So this is the true reason I have the name Dreamcast guy. That was my real life nickname. So when I was trying to finish my Dreamcast collection, I had about 150 of the 250 games, and I was working construction at the time, basically, and every day I would come home exhausted. I mean, just dead tired. And I lived next to a mall that had this retro gaming store called Console Game Exchange. And so almost every single day, because I had to walk past it anyways, I'd cut through the mall while going to my apartment and ask them, you got any new Dreamcast games? And I would do this almost every single day because I worked 7 days a week, until eventually the employees every day would laugh and say, nothing new, Dreamcast guy. Or they'd say like, oh, we got something right here for you, Mr. Dreamcast guy. So when I end up making my my YouTube channel, I chose that name because it was my real life nickname. What is your least favorite console that you still collect or own games for? Probably the Magnavox Odyssey. I own some Magnavox Odyssey games, but I don't really like. The only reason I collect them is because Magnavox Odyssey is like the first cartridge console ever. So I find it interesting historically, but I find the games to just be like blips and bloops. Like they are so primitive, my imagination can't even fill in the blanks. Seto Kaiba, who is my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh character, donated £1.99 and said, happy birthday, man. Love your videos. Ooh, some people are asking about what are my favorite games of the year so far. Well, I can't tell you that yet, but I do have a video coming up. I want to do it probably the first week of June, and I kind of want to do like a breakdown video talking about what's come out so far in 2018 that's just completely blown my mind, because there has been some good stuff. Dreamcast guy, will you rename yourself Genesis guy or Switch guy? No, never in a million years. I am still Dreamcast guy to my very core. I own every Dreamcast game, every Dreamcast accessory. Behind that box right there is actually a Dreamcast keyboard. I own the Dreamcast fishing rod. I got the Dreamcast mouse. I am Dreamcast guy. Dreamcast guy, do you agree with the IGN and GameSpot etc. lists when they're talking about top game lists, or do you think they're biased? I don't at all think they're biased, but I feel like there's just this, what do they call it? The problem of committee, where like if 50 people are all coming together to try and vote on the best games, it becomes muddled. You can't quite tell. Like, I feel like it's better to have one voice say what they like most instead of like 100 people voting on what they like most when it comes to video games. Shway Garcia, which is a good buddy of mine in real life, thank you very much there, Francis, donated $50 and said, happy birthday to you, Dreamcast guy. Hope you're ready for that Shenmue release. Oh, dude, I want to say I'm actually not ready. I am so excited for Shenmue HD and Shenmue 3. Nothing can prepare me. Super Kami Guru donated $4.99 and said, happy birthday. Do you watch SpongeBob? If not, which cartoons do you watch or did you used to watch? I used to watch SpongeBob, but SpongeBob came out after I was like basically in high school, so it was way too young. I was way too old for it then. Um, Growing up, I really liked, and this is like a cartoon I'm sure nobody even knows about, but they actually had a Starship Troopers cartoon show for a very short time. It was called Roughnecks. It was a prequel to the movies, and it was basically each one they're doing like silly missions to try and stop the bugs. It had horrible CG. It was one of the first computer generated cartoon shows. It's awful. I loved it. It used to come on at 6 a.m. and I would wake up at 6 a.m. every day to watch it. And my mom was like, "Why are you doing this?" Got exams coming up next week. Any tips? I have no idea. I never went to college, so I don't really know. Study hard. And one piece of advice that's helped me a lot with YouTube when I'm working crazy hours is sleep. Sleep when you can. Dreamcast Guy, do you care about homebrew on handheld consoles? I actually think it's cool. I have some homebrew games. I have some homebrew translations and stuff. And I think it's cool. I feel like as long as you're doing homebrew to bring new games to a new audience, the people who are just trying to pirate games on handhelds are trash, in my opinion. Don't. Like, bootlegging crap is just so dumb, and it takes money away from people who could actually use it. Let's see here. James Walter says, I woke up at 6 a.m. for Yu-Gi-Oh! When Saturday morning cartoons were a thing. See? Yeah, James and me, we're brothers, man. That's what you got to do. You got to wake up for those good cartoons. Let's see here. I got a D+ on my world history final, and I still got a B-. Well, do what you got to do. Let's see here. Dreamcast Guy, best old PS4 game. Man, it's weird to think of old PS4 games. Let me secretly glance at my giant PS4 collection. Let's see here. I like Dishonored a lot. I think the Dishonored games don't get enough love. Going back through them lately, I've just really kind of grown to admire them even more. They're some of the best stealth games. They've got some of the most interesting gameplay mechanics of being able to like teleport or make bodies turn to ash. And I think the stories are amazing. What I love most about that game, though, like the Dishonored trilogy, even though the third game isn't really a full game, is I love that they kind of destroyed their own universe. Like, it's so ballsy that the first game, you're like introduced to the outsider and given the dark mark and all these powers. Dishonored 2, they give you your daughter the powers and she gets to go on her own adventure, and it's super cool. And then the third game, you kill God. Like, that's so crazy. Like, that's such a gutsy move to basically destroy their universe. Like, well, now if we ever want to do a new game, we really got to think outside the box. Dreamcast Guy, Dynasty Warriors 9 is good or bad. I'm a fan of the series, but many persons hated this title. So from what I've heard from a lot of people is the more you like Dynasty Warriors, the more you hate Dynasty Warriors 9. They kind of defied so many aspects of the franchise that it feels too different from them. As somebody who hasn't played a Dynasty Warriors game in a decade, though, I thought DS9 was really actually pretty fun. I liked the ability to like knock out generals and do side quests to weaken my main foe. I don't know. I thought all that was really, really, really different. I thought Dynasty Warriors 9 was a really great game. It's not phenomenal, but it was really, really great. I do think that the storytelling was a little bit convoluted. Unlocking new chapters was not as straightforward as I'd like. What is your least favorite Dreamcast games? The number one game I hate on Dreamcast, and people always think I'm silly for hating on this game so much, but it's a game called Championship Surfer, and it's garbage. It's like a surfing game that makes no sense. You're constantly falling off your board. There's like landmines in the waves that'll kill you instantly. It's one of those games where it's like, did you make this game because you hate gamers? What score would you give to Sonic Adventure 1? I'd give it an 8.5. Best boss in Bloodborne. I kind of like I kind of like the last boss, but I don't want to say his name. And I kind of like the DLC bosses a lot. Are you hoping for Jet Set Radio Future Remaster? I'd like it, but I've also been on record of not. Yeah, so wait. Yeah, Jet Set Radio Future, yes. The original Jet Grind Radio, I'm not as much of a fan of. It's one of those Dreamcast games that everybody seems to love but me. But Jet Set Radio Future is epic. Dreamcast Guy, we need a Dreamcast Guy shirt. I'm working on that. I want to try and make a shirt in the next couple of months. I want to have a shirt that says some "Keep Dreaming" and stuff. This is from my old bookstore. But I want to get shirts that say like "Keep Dreaming" and stuff like that. But I also want to try and make some extra cool stuff. Have you ever collected all emblems and Sonic Adventure 1 or 2? Yes, I did. And it took me a really long time, actually. Dreamcast Guy, why are your PSN trophies hidden? The only reason why is, man, so my thing is I play a lot of games and I don't get a lot of platinums. I get platinums in all the Final Fantasies. And when I get a platinum in a Final Fantasy, I always screenshot it and then like tweet out the screenshot. But I found back in the day when I had my trophies visible, I would have people hassle me all the time of like, I'd review a game, I'd beat it, I'd do most of the side quests, and people would be like, oh, you didn't get this trophy for talking to this side quest person, so you didn't play the game. So I feel like I only had people hassling me about my trophies, so I just turned them private. It's just one of those things where I get less hate tweets that way. Dreamcast Guy, did you have any trouble using the Dreamcast logo? No, actually, Sega's big fans of me. I talk to Sega a lot. They DM me all sorts of stuff. They don't mind I'm using the logo. I can't legally sell it, though. I can't do anything. Like, I could never have... I don't think I could... I don't know legally. I don't think I'll ever be able to print a shirt that says Dreamcast Guy, because I don't own the word Dreamcast. But, you know... someone asked, do you collect comic books? I have a lot of comic books, but I buy the stories I want to read. I read a lot of Superman. I'm a really big fan of Superman. I just read what is it called? American Alien. It's a Superman story that's much more about Clark Kent trying to figure out his Kryptonian heritage and stuff. Really good. Really good. That's the stories I like. So I actually own a lot of comics, especially in my big old pile. I own all the Resident Evil comics. I kind of want to grab one. Is it? Yeah. Here, just for the heck of it, let me check this out. This is I don't even know why I'm hearing headphones. There's no audio. To my gigantic pile of books. This is the Resident Evil comics. I really like the Resident Evil comics a lot. And this one has really cool art. So this is like the way they did art in like the late 90s and early 2000s. And so this is a little bit outdated, like stylized. Wow. Oh, that. But stuff like seeing people fight and stuff, I feel like these comics are great. So I collect stuff like this, where it's a comic that has a cool story that you don't normally see. Dreamcast Guy, what do you expect for Nintendo at E3? In my case, I'm expecting Crash, Spyro, and Doom. For Smash, also news on gameplay of Shin Megami Tensei 5. I think that we'll see a lot of different stuff. I don't know. It's hard to guess with Nintendo. I'm hoping for some Metroid gameplay. Hey, here's somebody with a really funny, good question. And I'm really impressed that you see this. Dreamcast Guy, in the first few frames of your intro, there's an NES controller instead of a Dreamcast controller. Explain, please. Years ago, when the animator who actually drew my intro made it, they drew it with an NES controller. It's my buddy Andy, and I didn't think of anything about it for years. I just said, make a gaming controller. And so he used an NES controller because it's really iconic. And then I had that for about a year. And then I was talking to my brother one day, and he said, hey, you really should put a Dreamcast controller for the intro. So I ended up just animating. I basically did like a slide sequence over the top of it and re-rendered the intro. So for that first like 3 frames, the NES controller is still there until my animation sequence starts on top of it. Nafantli says, I really admire the way you talk and I admire your work. Keep up the good work, mate. Thank you very much. I try to talk as best I can. Somebody named Sub Please, who has like a weird Monsters Inc. Logo, just donated 99 cents. Thank you very much there, Sub Please. Might I ever inquire if there will be a top 10 waifu list or top 10 video game beaches to usher in the summer season? Yeah, I'll never do something like that. It'd be silly to do that, especially because I just got the trophy in Final Fantasy IX for visiting every beach. It is a total pain to get. It takes so long, but I finally got that one. After getting that trophy, I'd probably give all the awards to that beach. DreamcastGuy, do you like Final Fantasy Tactics? Yes, I do like Final Fantasy Tactics. I like the remake more, though. A War of the Lions. The original Final Fantasy Tactics is good, but you can kind of break it. You can like spec your people a certain way and make it real easy. Whereas Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions, they bounced a little bit more. You know what? I actually love Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced way more. I'm obsessed with Tactics Advanced and Advanced 2. In fact, I own them both complete in box. It's so cool to me. I don't know. I think those are actually really, really, really good. It took me a while to track them down, and I'm glad I did. Let's see. DreamcastGuy, what's your favorite Resident Evil game? Definitely Code Veronica. Code Veronica to me is the pinnacle. So I really like the older Resident Evil control style, what they call tank controls, where forward is forward and then you turn left and turn right. I thought that was really, really good at instilling a sense of fear and powerlessness that was really, really strong. I mean, I was shaking with fear while playing those games sometimes. And so I thought that worked well. And I feel like it came through best of all when it came to Code Veronica because it had the best graphics. I thought it had a cool story, a really good setting, and it kept you really isolated in the Antarctic chapter. So I like that. So Resident Evil Code Veronica is my favorite Resident Evil, but I'm willing to admit that I think that Resident Evil 4 is probably the best Resident Evil. DreamcastGuy, who is your favorite YouTuber? I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of people I really like. It sounds cheesy to compliment my friends like this, but I really do like what RGT85 does and Spawnwave. Like Spawnwave in particular, his news show is so good. Like if you could put that on TV, I like RGT's rants. I really, really like people like there's so many great ones out there. I really like the Weapon Wheel podcast. I like that they have this like group of friends who talk about games and less about game news. There's so many ways out there. There's so many great channels out there. DreamcastGuy, would you prefer a new BioShock, revisit Rapture, or in a new location and time period? Also, did you like Infinite? I loved BioShock Infinite. Let me take a drink. I like BioShock Infinite a lot. And I think part of that is because I went to the midnight release for BioShock Infinite. I waited in line. My roommate picked me up. I drove straight home and I played that game for 10 hours straight. I beat that game in one sitting. And my roommate ends up walking up the hall. He's like leaving for work at 3 p.m. And I'm sitting there dazed out of my mind watching that amazing twist ending. And I just didn't see it coming. BioShock Infinite to me is really, really, really cool because it did catch me off guard. I feel like a lot of people are like, yeah, BioShock Infinite didn't surprise me at all. BioShock Infinite is so boring. It totally got me. BioShock Infinite really, really, really surprised me. When it comes to the next game, I really, really want the next BioShock to be in a new time period. I think it's important that they establish themselves separately from the trilogy that Ken Levine made. Here's a question here I actually really, really like. This is actually probably one of my favorite questions we've gotten so far, which is YK2K said, what games were you playing in your teenage years? I was really addicted to Final Fantasy. I discovered them when I was about 13 years old. And so as I was growing up, each one of them came out. And then in between those, I got really into Halo. I played through all the Halo games. I played so much, man. Basically everything I could get on my Xbox, everything I could get on my Xbox. Knights of the Old Republic. One of the first games that really kind of, like, I remember shocking me a bunch just because I'd never heard of it is my roommate at the time, way back in 2006, bought a game called Phantom Dust and randomly brought it home. And he said, this is apparently a card game with destructible environments and super abilities. And that game was so awesome. And it was my first time ever playing a game, never having heard of it. And it was so good. And I put so many hours into that. So throughout my teenage years, I played a lot of stuff. Fighting Force, basically anything I could play with my friends. Timo Tech just donated $5 to Super Chat and said, happy birthday. Keep doing what you do. Well, thank you very much there, Timo. I'm going to do my best to keep doing this as long as I possibly can because this is my dream. I still cannot believe that I'm about to hit 100,000 subscribers. It is so crazy to me. Just Kaz asked your favorite Halo. You know, I feel like a lot of people disagree on this one, but the original Halo still has the biggest place in my heart. The original Halo, it felt like it had the longest campaign. It had the most broken multiplayer, obviously, because the pistol was so overpowered and the maps were not exactly well shaped, but it's still the one I played the most. And also, the original Halo got me the most invested in that universe. I own and have read all the Halo books, and I bought and read all those because the original game sucked me in so much. Thanks for answering, man. Recently got my hands on Final Fantasy VI, and I turned 17 recently. Man, that's a good game. So what's funny is I didn't play Final Fantasies 1 through 6 until I was in my 20s. I think I was 23, and I was working at Target at the time. And it was the first time I realized that I had missed a huge part of gaming history, that there were all these really good RPGs that I just completely missed because I didn't really play RPGs at that time. I was such a broke kid when the Super Nintendo was going on. So I went back and played through the first 6 Final Fantasies and Chrono Trigger and so many of those games on my PSP digitally. And I feel like that's part of the reason that the PSP has such a big part of my heart is because I got to experience all these amazing, literally legendary RPGs on my PSP for the first time ever. Let's see here. I just want to say El Comanche is mod in chat, and he just said, this is such an awesome community in here. No garbage going on. Thanks for everyone for being good people for a stream. Man, El Comanche is dead on. You guys are being awesome. This is kind of one of my favorite things about streaming. I don't get a chance to stream very often, but you guys are always so positive. It's so fun. I feel like I love my job because obviously I'm playing video games and getting to talk about them and be a fanboy and all of that. But even more so, it's the fact that we get to share this. Like, you guys are so positive and so happy about this. It's really easy to like stay hyped. Oh, nice. Here's my roommate being a jerk in Super Chat. Right as I said that everyone's being nice, he said, say vegetarianism is wrong, eat meat. I'm a vegetarian and he likes to hassle me for that. So there you go, Sadiq. That's your one quote. You can clip that out later. Dreamcast Guy, would you give your general thoughts on Death Stranding? I feel like it won't be anything what we think, like switching between first and third person. So this is my theory on Death Stranding, and I feel like I'm going to be right. I think that Death Stranding is going to be a horror game. I think it's going to be stealth action, but I think the main thing is going to be when you get seen, your body ages like we've seen in the trailers, and if you die of old age, then you have to restart a level. Because something they've talked about is that in that game, it sounds like it's going to be a perpetual world. Everything's going to constantly be going. And even when you die, you end up just popping back to life, like right at the beginning of the level. So they said, though, that the world keeps going. Like if you killed an enemy and then die, you restart that area, but that enemy stays dead, which makes me think that those creatures we see in the trailer that are hunting around and like invisible shadow creatures that suck people into the mud, I think it's going to be much more about sneaking around and not being spotted. And if you get spotted, you die. Jant7 says, happy birthday. Check out my God of War question. Oh man, I think I missed it. I'll make you, Jace, do me a favor. Repeat your God of War question if you would. I'm going to watch chat real closely to make sure I see it. Dreamcast Guy, what was your favorite job before YouTube? It was definitely this bookstore. I worked at Half Price Books for 7 years, and it absolutely changed my life. I mean, when I started working at Half Price Books, I had no teeth. My front teeth are fake. I was hungry. I'd never really had a steady schedule. Those people hired me though, and they gave me a real chance. They basically gave me a paycheck. They gave me the shirt on my back. And I feel like being surrounded by so many really smart people encouraged me to think bigger. I definitely think that a big reason I am a YouTuber is because of my last job. I think the reason I wanted to do more and try this and put myself out here and see what happens is because of that job. Somebody asked, how did you become homeless? It was a bad home life and a bad situation, and I had nowhere to go. That's a sad story. You don't want to know that. Gold Coin says, if you could wield any weapon from any game, which would it be? Oh man, which would it be? I do kind of like oh gosh, that's such a good one. I'm going to have to say the chainsaw machine gun from Gears of War. I do think that that's such a freaking hilarious weapon. Secon 10 says, scared about Final Fantasy Remake. I think it might be a disappointment. I feel like whenever it comes out, it'll probably be good, but man, who knows? I mean, it's been in the oven so long. I'm a person who also liked Final Fantasy 15, though. I liked Final Fantasy 15 a lot. I've been replaying it recently, so I think it could be good, but we got to keep our fingers crossed. Universal Juan donated $5 and just wants me to say, do me the biggest favor of all and keep streaming. You know what? I'm definitely going to try and do that. Let's see here. Souls of Death says, happy birthday, man. I'll have a drink on you. Thank you very much. I like that a lot. Someone said, yeah, the Leviathan axe. If y'all have not actually played, if you haven't played God of War yet, it has one of the most satisfying feelings. The Leviathan axe, when you throw it, as soon as you hold triangle, it magnetizes back to your hands. And there's like a subtlety to the motion of like, it really feels like it's hitting you in a way that I feel like games are not usually able to convey. So it definitely, my girlfriend was over and she's like super into God of War right now. And she was just watching me like throw the axe and just watch it flip off in the distance and then just, and it's just like, it has such a nice stick to it. So probably that, but let's face it, that pulling that axe back into my hand in real life would probably kill me. Sergio Manzor donated 100, and I don't know what an MX is, some currency I've never heard of. And he says, happy birthday. I really hope this small donation helps you a bit. Quick question. When do you think we'll see Fortnite on Switch? Sergio, I love that you put it as when and not if, because I definitely think it is coming. If you had asked me a month ago, I would have said next year. Asking me today, I think that we're going to see it in the next month and a half. It seems like they are putting so much money into that game to make sure that it succeeds. And yeah. I definitely think so. So hold on, let me read this. J7 asked a question, and he super chatted earlier, and I missed his question. And it was, who do you think summoned the World Serpent when Kratos and Atreus hear someone else use the horn? Prisoner of Azkaban vibes. I don't know. See, that's something I don't want to spoil anything about. I don't want to spoil anything about God of War, but I definitely think that we're going to get a sequel really soon. I feel like, and I'm not spoiling anything here, I do think that they're going to try and bring out Odin, and I think they're going to bring out Thor. So I think it's Thor who blew the horn to summon the world serpent then, just to be a jerk because he knows it hates him. But yeah, I really think that we're going to get the next game really soon. I think we're probably going to get the next God of War in like 2 years, and it's going to be epic. What about top 10 permadeath games, such as Final Fantasy VII, Nier, Fire Emblem, Hellblade? Are you? I can't tell what you're saying there, Jason. Are you saying games I'd like to have permadeath? I do kind of. You've inspired me. I do kind of want to do a video just for fun. That's like top 10 games that have permadeath, because I do think permadeath is so interesting. Dreamcast guy, how much do you think your collection is worth? A lot. So actually, I've told my roommates if for some reason I fall over dead and have a heart attack or whatever because of all those years of living on the streets and not eating right, I kind of want my collection to all be sold and donate all the money to charity. There is a local food bank called the North Texas Food Bank, and I very much think I am alive because of them. And so if I pass away, I would want to sell my entire collection and give that money to people who can feed the homeless. Because these games are cool, but I mean, life is about a lot more than just video games, you know? Cedric says, Ni no Kuni 2 opinion, please. Yeah, Ni no Kuni 2 is really cool. It shocked me that it is so different. It is, man, it's so different. I love the original Ni no Kuni a lot. It's super, super cool to me. Ni no Kuni 2 is totally different. So I would say I like it a lot, but since I'm probably only like 8 hours into it, so I don't want to give a hard opinion. I want to beat that game though. It's actually, I have a list of games on my second monitor that I keep that's basically things I have to beat before the end of the year. One of them is Ni no Kuni. I haven't beaten Kingdoms of Amalur. And I haven't finished the rest of Far Cry 5 yet. So those are on my to-do list. Let's see here. What's been the highlight of your YouTube career? I feel like this is going to sound silly, but one of the things that was, so there's been a lot of really great moments in my YouTube career, but one of the times, so the first time I ever got sent a video game by a studio where they're like, yeah, we really want you to cover our game, was actually Batman Arkham Knight. Like I'd gotten games early before that by like buying them by eBay and stuff, leaked copies. But that was the first time a $60 game got sent to me. And it honestly choked me up. When I opened up my email and saw that WB Games wanted me to review their game, it hit me. It made me realize that I was a real YouTuber. And actually, so this is a true story. I opened up that email and it was like 11 p.m. and I just worked like a 12-hour shift in my job and I was so tired. And I opened that email and I honestly danced on my bed. I literally was so happy because it felt like this big breakthrough for YouTube of like, it felt like the first time I felt like a YouTuber. I had done it. And that was like one of those big YouTube moments where I was like, oh man, it hit me. Let's see here. Dreamcast guy, you just earned my respect. I'm a gamer myself, but I'm also single dad of my birth son and X's daughter. After X died, some gamers often forget that other people are important. You know, Shadow Wolf, that's the biggest thing is like part of the reason that gaming is so important to me is that I feel like it brings us all together. Like, look at this. There are 300 people in chat. We are all sharing in the passion of getting to just pick up a controller, go on an adventure, make some memories. We do this not just because the games are fun, but because then we can share that fun with others, share the experience, talk to people. And I feel like humanity is what matters most. And that's why, I don't know, more than anything, I feel like the social aspect of gaming is what keeps pulling me back. Dreamcast guy, what's your favorite genre of music? Oh man, I listen to terrible music. You don't want to know my opinion. I honestly listen to like really bad dubstep. I listen to like, I basically pull up super giant like 5-hour remixes of like dubstep, and that's what I basically write all my scripts to, is listening to really, really bad dubstep. Somebody keeps asking about Digimon, if I like Digimon. I've played a little bit of Digimon, and I watched the Digimon TV show back in the day when it first started. And I liked it, but I didn't. My problem with Digimon is I never played it enough to really see the limits of it. Like, I feel like Pokemon makes sense to me because there are a limited number of evolutions. I feel like the rules of Pokemon make sense to me very immediately. The rules of Digimon never fully clicked with me, so I didn't get as into those games. Let's see here. DreamcastGuy, have you played any games by Atlus that are not Persona 5? Yes, I've played many Atlus games. I own their 3DS game Contact. I just reviewed, and the video will be up tomorrow, their game by freaking Dragon's Crown. Obviously, this is an Atlus game. So yes, I know lots and lots of Atlus games, and I've played all of them. Catherine, I love all of them. I think Atlus is really good. The only problem I have with Atlus is that they seem to underprint their games sometimes. A lot of times they'll print their games, and then if you just don't buy it in the first year, it's really hard to track them down. Like, I think I own Catherine on both Xbox 360 and PS3, and they were legitimately tough to track down. Let's see here. Mate, hate to tell you, but your room's shit. Thanks very much there, Hoster. I'll make it a point to improve my office. Honestly, people could insult this room all day long, and I love it. Let's see here. Did you ever play Trauma Center by Atlus? I did a little bit. They're super silly. I've never beaten any of the Trauma Center games. I've heard the Trauma Center on Wii is good, though. I own it. I didn't play the 3DS one, though, or the 2DS one. What are your thoughts on Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on Nintendo Switch? It's still a good game. I definitely like that it's so hard. I think that's cool. I do think that $60 for a re-release is a bit much. I didn't buy it. Obviously, there's a reason I didn't review it. But I think it's one of those things where I think it's still like a 9.5 out of 10 game. That price tag is still just a smidgen too high. Nix says, DreamcastGuy, are you familiar with Dark Pixel Gaming? Yep. I'm friends with those guys, and have been for years and years. In fact, I've been on their podcast once. I've been on their podcast twice, and they want me to come back again. Love those guys, Mike and all them. BT donated $2 of some currency I can't recognize and said, happy birthday, man. Have you played Enter the Gungeon? Yes, I have. I really think Enter the Gungeon is good, too. I think I put it on my list of top 10 two-player games on PS4, or maybe I put it on the top 10 indie games. Sadiq asks, what's the weirdest thing anyone ever asked you to review? I'm trying to think. People have sent me some pretty weird dating games. I had somebody try and get me to review a game once that was, I think it was just basically like spanking girls, and you got points for spanking girls. And it was like, that's not a game. Galgun. I'm not going to review Galgun, but I've had a lot of people ask me to review Galgun. And the Galgun games are basically you walking around with a freaking phaser that makes women's clothes explode. Let's see here. Sergio donated 50 MX. Thank you very much there, Sergio. Let's see here. DreamcastGuy, do you plan to go to E3 next year? I want to. I really want to go next year. Let's see. Here's a good question. I like questions about Far Cry. I feel like I'm not the biggest Far Cry person, but they're really good games, but I feel like I'm not the best at them. But someone said, Voss or Pagan Min? That's basically the bad guy from 3 and the bad guy from 4. Voss by a mile. I think Pagan Min was well done, but he definitely felt like Voss too. I feel like Voss is super cool to me because he's a villain that feels like he exists. Like, it's easy to be afraid of him because he genuinely seems like Like somebody right now could be as crazy as Voss. Like on some island right now, there could be somebody as crazy as Voss. So when I'm fighting him in the video game, it's just so cool. Oh yeah. Is there a game you hate so much you'd need to be paid in order to replay it? Yes. I feel like one of my most hated games of all time is called uh, Reservoir Dogs Bloody Days. It is awful. I gave it a 2 out of 10 when I reviewed it, and it's a game that is based around a concept that is broken. So when you're playing Bloody Days, basically there are 3 separate people in a job. It's like a twin stick shooter. And say you're trying to rob a bank or trying to do some sort of heist, you control the first person walking through shooting people, and then time rewinds, and then you play as the second person following your original path with a different person, and then the third person trying to give each other color fire. But the problem is the game is constantly adapting to the newest person walking through the room. So because of it, every time you play through a level of Bloody Days, it gets perpetually more and more messed up. Somebody would have to pay me $100 to go back through that game. I hated it. Let's see here. Do you think Fallout 4 or New Vegas will ever be coming to Switch? And if yes, what year do you think it'll be? I think it'll happen. I would like it to be this year. It's hard to say. They're working on ports as fast as they can. I'd like it this year a lot, though. Oh man, Gary Wright in chat just actually mentioned randomly one of my favorite freaking Xbox and PS2 games, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. He said, what do you think of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance? Both of those games are so good. They, in my opinion, are the pinnacle of that generation of dungeon crawlers, where it's you and a friend going along, beating stuff up. I love the water effects. I love the physics. It felt like such a good console version of Diablo 2. It was different enough, but it still sort of followed in those footsteps of like hardcore co-op adventuring. It was so good. Seriously, I own them. I think they're in the background somewhere, but man, do I love both those games. Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, both of those are extremely good. If they brought them to the backwards compatibility on PS4, I'd buy them right now. I don't care the price. Let's see here. I know it doesn't feel like it, but I discovered you years ago, and I've been watching you closely since. I love your stuff, man. Big fan. Are you worried about the supposed KOTOR remake? No, but it's hard to believe it's real. I really want to see it. I don't know. It's hard to say because Knights of the Old Republic's writing, I've heard, is like Knights of the Old Republic, ever since it went free to play, it's had quite a bit of problems. So it's hard to predict what that, I don't know. It's hard to predict what that'll be like. I have hope, though. What do you think of Sonic Mania Plus? Yeah, I think it's good. I like the original Sonic Mania a lot. So more Sonic Mania with extra characters is a big coolness to me. I'll probably buy a physical version. Neftali says, I'd love to see a GBA video, like recommendations for what the best games are. I'll probably do that at some point. The problem is when I do retro gaming videos, they get like no views. So when I do it, it'll definitely be doing it just for fun and for fans like us. I'm about to get a GameCube HDMI adapter in the mail in the next couple days. When I get it in, I'm going to record a bunch of Game Boy Advanced gameplay in HD because I want to try and get the natural look of it and not the like. I don't like GBA emulators. So when I do my Game Boy Advanced video, I want to make sure it looks as pure and true to it as possible. But definitely see that coming at some point. Here's a really nice one. Happy birthday, Dreamcast guy. I found your channel last year and I had so much fun watching your videos. Greetings from the Netherlands and keep up the good work, bro. Thank you so much for all the positivity. Have you ever played any of the Ace Attorney games? Yes, I have. And they're very, very good. I like the Ace Attorney games a lot because they're just so ridiculous. Ooh, here's a hard one. Xenogears or FF6? Oh man. I have to give it to Final Fantasy VI, but by the tiniest sliver. And just because, obviously, without spoiling games that are 20 years old, Final Fantasy VI ending is obviously about 100 times better than the ending of Xenogears, since the ending of Xenogears is basically like an hour-long movie. See, Baldur's Gate is so unheard of nowadays, and nobody talks about Baldur's Gate. I wish Blizzard would buy out Baldur's Gate and make a third game. That would be so cool. It'd be awesome. I don't know if it'll happen. It's one of the things where companies are always worried about brand awareness, about making a sequel to a game people have heard of. DreamcastGuy, which Nintendo franchise has the best music? I have to say Pokemon. I feel like I can't remember any of the others that super jump out, but some of those Pokemon theme songs, like people will walk around conventions with a giant boombox blasting the boss music from Pokemon. So people will be like, see here. Been a sub for a while now. Love the videos. Do you have an accent, or do you just emphasize words in your videos for the effect? This is just how I talk. My birth mother was from Ohio. My father is from Texas, and my awesome stepmother is from Kenya, so she speaks with a Swahili accent. I feel like the only reason I talk this way in particular is my older brother speaks like 8 languages. He is a polyglot, which is somebody who speaks multiple languages. And so throughout my developmental years, he was always bringing people around who are also multilingual. So I heard a lot of like Arabic and lots of Spanish. And so I feel like being so induced with different languages made me more self-aware of how I myself speak, and it made me want to speak as clearly as possible. I've actually gotten like thank you messages from people specifically in like Germany. A lot of people in Germany who have said that they like my videos a lot because I do talk in a slower cadence and emphasize stuff so much. They say that even after having taken a couple English classes, they feel like they're adjusted enough that they can watch me talk about video games and keep up. And that's kind of what I've always wanted, is I've always wanted to try and be the person that anybody who speaks English can enjoy. Your thoughts on Infinity War? I loved it. It liquefied my brain. That ending was pretty freaking stunning. I'm very curious as to what they're going to do next. I'm not going to spoil any of it because I definitely think people should watch it. I actually had really bad Marvel fatigue for a couple of years where I didn't watch any of the Marvel movies. Just because when it comes to comics, I'm much more of a DC Comics fan. Marvel comics in general kind of bore me. And I love Superman so much. So it was weird that Marvel movies were so good and DC movies just not quite there. So I really liked Infinity War for managing to tie so many knots together and deliver it as such a completed package. I'd almost describe it as that's a movie that should not work. It is so well glued together that you can't see all the pieces, and I love that. Somebody asked, Infinity War or The Dark Knight? I have to say Infinity War, but The Dark Knight is exceptionally well. I still have to say the Infinity War because I feel like the build-up and payoff is better. Let's see here. DC Comics are so much better right now. What series do you read? I'm not super up to date on any of the stuff, but I do like. I'm kind of keeping up to date on several things. I kind of always like to read whatever Batman's up to because the newest Batman stuff is so crazy. I mean, now that his son is an assassin and he's trying to train Damian to do stuff and everything. I really like the Batman comics. I do think that they're trying a little bit too hard. Like some of the stuff they've done with Joker is a little bit too magical for my taste. Let's see here. Birthday guy. Do you collect gaming merch and clothing? What costume would you be Halloween as? I don't particularly have it. I might do something though. I have some stuff like I've got a Mario costume. I've got an Assassin's Creed costume. But I do have lots and lots and lots of video game collectibles. Here, I'm going to grab some random stuff. So this is obviously my gaming shelves are here. And then over here, this is my bookshelves. But on my bookshelves, I also put my random, really weird collectibles. Like this is Ezio's actual blade from Assassin's Creed. This actually works. You can put it on your wrist and it fires out when you press a button. Super cool. I have stuff like, of course, like a Link figurine. You're supposed to like hang this up in your car, but I don't own a car, so I just keep it in my office so you can go do. And then I have stuff like this is like the first thing that Nintendo ever released in America ever. It is the Nintendo Roulette board game. Now, the reason this is so interesting is because, look, Nintendo didn't even have a logo in America yet. It just says NG for Nintendo game. This is complete in box. This is the kind of stuff I like to collect because it's more a piece of history than just like a random collectible. It's an actual thing, you know? I feel like I'm not a big fan of just having like action figures and stuff. I do have some action figures, but I like to try and have stuff that's practical. I like collectibles that are practical. Kiro asks, can you speedrun any games? Yes. I was really into trying to set world records for a couple of years ago. Or for a couple of years, I was obsessed with trying to set world records. So I said, I tried to set a world record in Resident Evil 2, and I think I held it for a short time. I beat Resident Evil 2 start to finish in 1 hour and 13 minutes or something. And you can watch that speed run. It's actually one of my oldest videos. It's back when I didn't have teeth. So you see me like talk to the camera like, hey guys. I can also speed run BioShock Infinite. I can beat that in about 4 hours. I can speed run a lot of games. I can speed run Resident Evil 4 in like 2 hours and 45 minutes, I think. So I like speed running. I don't speed run as much anymore now just because I'm so dang busy. Happy birthday, man. What do you think about Conan Exiles for PS4? Should I pre-order it? I only have like 8 hours to get the 20% discounts. I played the early versions of Conan Exiles and I didn't care for it. It is really not my cup of tea, but I could just be wrong. I've heard some people play Conan Exiles and describe it as so broken it's fun. But I know they've come out with a bajillion patches since then. So it's probably up to a working thing. Personally, if you're asking my raw, honest opinion, I would not buy it. I would not. Let's see here. Somebody said, how many languages do you speak? I can understand you so clearly, and I don't even speak English. You're good talking. Not like most Americans that speak too damn fast, plus the slang. I only speak English. I know about maybe 200 words of Spanish, so I can say like, se habla poquito español, más o menos when I'm not feeling so good. I can sing happy birthday to somebody and be like, feliz cumpleaños. I know a little bit of Japanese. I know a little bit of like German, so I can say stuff like akalanik bujao stuff. I need water. But not a lot. I don't really know any good languages. And yeah, I speak hillbilly because I live in Texas. So I can be like, hey, y'all, I do appreciate y'all for subscribing from the bottom of my heart, which is this big. I do love it. Oh, man. Someone said, love all the content you deliver, homie. You're a piece of video game culture we need. Have you finished Yakuza 6? Yes, I have. Yakuza 6. I haven't done... There's a glitch and I forgot to do it. But so what you can do is you can beat Yakuza on any difficulty and you get one of the main trophies. And the really hard trophy, like the only hard trophy at all in Yakuza 6 is beating the game on Legendary, which is the hardest difficulty. And there's a glitch I forgot to do where you basically beat the last boss on normal, watch the credits, and then it does the normal thing where it's like, would you like to save your game? save it, turn it onto the maximum difficulty, and then load it, and it gives you the trophy for the hardest difficulty. That's what I've read. I haven't done it yet, but I mean to do that again. Let's see here. Thanks, man. Happy birthday. I love all the happy birthdays. Hey, Dreamcast guy, big happy birthday from Australia. I love your hard work, incredible work ethic, and fantastic communication skills. Also, I love your interest in the Dot Hack series. Man, I love the Dot Hack game. Seriously, that's probably the #1 dead series I really want to come back, because the anime, I mean, they're still coming out with like OVAs, which are like little short animated movies. Like, I own all the Dreamcast anime. I own the Dreamcast, or sorry, not the Dreamcast. I own all the Dot Hack anime. I own the Dot Hack books, which people don't even know exist. I own the Dot Hack manga. I own all the Dot Hack games, including the Japanese ones like Dot Hack Link. I would love for them to make another Dot Hack game. Seriously, that would blow my mind. Someone said, what do you do besides YouTube and gaming? I'm really big into reading. I really like reading. I really like watching movies. And this sounds cheesy. I really like film analysis. I will never really do a movie review, but I think movie reviews are interesting. So I like to watch a movie and then watch a 30-minute analytical breakdown. So if I had one big hobby besides video games and books, it would definitely be movies. Let's see here. Oh, thanks for catching that there, Comanche, my mod in chat. Caught a question I missed, which is about Venom. I am excited for Venom a lot, but I am hoping that they somehow bring... I'm really hoping that they somehow bring Spider-Man into it, because let's face it, the entire origin of Venom as a character is based on Spider-Man. It connects to Spider-Man for a bit. It reads how he works and it molds its powers after that. So having the symbiote go straight onto Eddie Brock is strange. And I'm curious how they're going to do that in the movie. Jace Doe says, what is one of your favorite books? My favorite book of all time is Slaughterhouse-5 by Kurt Vonnegut. It's a phenomenal novel, super good. And the saying, there's a phrase that's repeated throughout it, which is "so it goes," which kind of just means, you got to go with the punches. Life gives you what life gives you. And I like the saying "so it goes" so much, I actually got it tattooed on me. See, so it goes. Love that book so much. Let's see here. Which games do you want to add to your collection but you can't find or too expensive? Greetings from Belgium. Man, I really want... So now that I own everything on Dreamcast, I kind of want to get some of the really rare Sega Saturn stuff. I really do want, and this is so dumb because it's so overpriced, I would love to have Panzer Dragoon Saga. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I want that game. But it's $400. So I'm probably never going to have that. Another game I do want to own, but it's super expensive. It's super high on my list of to buy, though, is Rule of Rose, which is about $200. And I really want to get Haunting Ground, which is about $150. Those are both on PlayStation 2. I do want to get Burning Rangers. That's a robot firefighter game on the Sega Saturn, but that's also about $350. I really just I feel like a lot of people collect rare games, but they don't beat them. I want to beat these games. I want to get them. I want to find all their secrets. I want to do all the side quests. I want to unlock everything because I feel like other people don't do it. I feel like it's my job to try and track down those really cool experiences that are so overlooked. Let's see here. I saw one of your older videos where you made a rant about GameStop and noticed you cussed in it as opposed to your newer videos where you have no cussing. Why the change? So the only reason I cuss less in videos now is because I write so many scripts now. It is very difficult to write a cuss word into a script. So I have a lot of scripts here on my other monitor. And when I'm like, so right here, I'm like writing about Super Smash Brothers and stuff. And so this is a line from my newest Top 10 Thursday. And I was talking about my predictions for E3. And so I said right here, as of the writing of this script, we know almost nothing about Smash Bros. Switch. We have some idea that it exists, but we don't have any information as to if it's a remake, a port, or an all-new game altogether. Personally, I think Smash Bros. Switch is a huge, completely fresh project. So when I wrote that script, it's hard to try and tuck the word fuck in there or something. You know, it's difficult to try and write cuss words into a detailed script in a way that makes actual sense and flows well. And after so many years of writing scripts like that, it doesn't feel as natural in a rant to be like, hey guys, how about that damn shit? You know, so now I'm just out of the habit. In real life though, I do cuss. Dreamcast Guy, do you ever grab reproductions copies of those games? I probably would. Let's see here. I would probably, I don't mind reproduction carts. I like reproduction carts, especially when it comes to stuff like I'll be honest, I own a reproduction of Earthbound. No problems with that. I love that. Let's see. Dreamcast Guy, should I get a PS4 or a Nintendo Switch? I personally would say PlayStation 4. It's cheaper. It's got more games. There's more online multiplayer. And I think a lot of the stuff on PlayStation 4 is cheaper right now. PlayStation 4 games get cheap really fast. Nintendo Switch games stay expensive forever. So if you're trying to save money, I definitely think that the PlayStation 4 is the way to go. Goldcoin is asking a question of somebody else in chat, but I want to answer it. And he's asking, what's the difference between reproduction copies and regular copies? Reproduction copies are when somebody prints something. So this is actually a reproduction card. This is the Zelda I held up earlier. Somebody made this game from scratch. And what they actually do is they end up getting, there's certain games that can be reprogrammed. So this is like one of the ones that's like Madden 97, since it has a save chip inside of it, you can actually go in there, plug it into a certain type of computer, and rewrite the programming to be any game you want. And so because of it, you can get a game that doesn't exist, or you can get a game that's worth $500 and print a copy of it for $10. So some people in the collecting community have a problem with it because people try and pass it off as the real game. I feel like if you're being deceitful, it's wrong, but I have no real core problem with reproductions in general. I actually think they're kind of positive because they can bring down the price of some games. Spartan donated $5 Canadian and said, happy birthday. You're the best gamer known to man. I don't know about that, man. I'm good and I get a lot of headshots, but I'm definitely not the best. Have you watched the biggest live streamer in the world right now, Ninja? That dude is insane. I watch his stream sometimes and he's like, see here. How do you manage organize your time to play games, make videos, have a GF, read, work, etc.? Very, very, very strict scheduling. If you ever choose to become a YouTuber, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can ever give you is to keep track of everything carefully. So the average review takes about 30 hours to make. The average Top 10 Thursday is about 25 hours to make. So basically what I do is I have my whole week planned out. Like right now, hold on, I gotta take a drink. On the weekends, a lot of times I'll finish playing whatever game I'm reviewing. I'll play like normally all day Sunday. I put 15 hours into whatever game I'm reviewing that week. So I just, no matter what, even if I've already beaten, I put 15 hours into side quests and recording footage. Monday morning, I write the script outline for Top 10 Thursday. Monday afternoon, I record the audio and do the editing for that week's review, which comes out Tuesday. So basically what I'm saying is like, you just keep away, you keep everything scheduled out. It almost feels like sword fighting in a way. And I only say that because I have all these training swords right here. And I think it's important to keep everything sectioned out. And so now I know when my girlfriend is free in the afternoons, it just kind of makes sure everything is broken down. And also, one piece of advice my grandfather gave me before he died is clock out at 6 p.m. That was something he told me. He ran a very successful business, and he basically said, look, man, you can work till midnight every single night, but the person who actually gets more done mentally is the person who has a time to start and a time to stop. So what I do is every single day, I work from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. and then I stop. Now, if there's a project I have to get done because there's a deadline, of course, I'll come back to it. But at 6 p.m., I make it a point to stop. I eat dinner. I go to the gym. I do everything I need to get myself mentally clear. And then if I have to work more, I can. So it's just a matter of keeping yourself motivated, but more importantly, keeping your time separated out. All right, I'm going to read a couple super chats here. So we got Barrett X said, Persona 5 is my favorite RPG of all time. What do you like about it? Also, Slaughterhouse 5 is my favorite book. One day we can get unstuck in time. Oh, I love that reference, man. Persona 5, I really like about it. I love the dungeon design. My favorite thing about Persona 5 by far is how every dungeon is built on people's own personal flaws, and they're so different. It honestly almost at times feels like multiple games or like sequels stacked on top of each other. It's genius. Nix donated an additional $2 and said, your channel is awesome. Greetings from Compton. Jesse Montalto said, donated $10 and said, happy birthday and thanks for the entertainment. Keep the good videos coming. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Dreamcast guy, when you break 100,000 subs, you should destroy a Dreamcast with a hammer on stream. No way, man. I love the Dreamcast. I don't ever want to hurt a Dreamcast. I love it. Let's see here. Grim said, hey, everyone, unless you pay him, he isn't going to read or answer your question. It's funny you say that, Grim, because for the last hour and a half, I've been reading 99% of random questions in chat. So you're dead wrong, but thanks for trying to be a jerk. Happy birthday, Dreamcast guy. Is your girlfriend a gamer? Yes, she is, and she's extremely good. In fact, hold on, just for fun, let me, is my phone on? Oh, I'm going to show you a random picture real quick. So last night, she took me for my birthday to an arcade, and it was super good. But not only was it super good, she was kicking so much butt. And I took a picture of her because she's laughing in this picture. We played House of the Dead together, and she kicked so much butt. My girlfriend is super good at video games, and she's one of those people that, oh, I guess I'll play, and then just destroy. So, man, obviously we just beat all of what is it called? Diablo 3. We just beat all of Diablo 3 co-op with hardcore characters, which is where if you die, your character gets deleted. It was so crazy, but she's so skilled, it was pretty easy. Let's see. Happy birthday, Dreamcast guy. Happy greetings from the Netherlands. Let's see here. Dreamcast guy is the man. Well, here's a really good question. What console do you recommend collecting for? 1,000,000%. I feel like everybody, if you're in this chat right now, everybody should start collecting today for the original Xbox and the PlayStation 2. These games, I seriously, here, I'm going to grab some. Look at these. You can see I have I literally have hundreds of these. These are like $1 a piece. Literally all of these games are like $1 a piece, and they're so good. I own 5 copies of Jade Empire limited edition just because it's so good, and this game is $1. So I feel like if you are wanting to collect something that's super cool, look, this is a factory sealed copy of Indigo Prophecy I got for $1. So if you're looking to collect stuff, this is what's time to get into. Other consoles are just so pricey, especially if it's something like, man, stuff like GameCube is super expensive. Most Dreamcast is pretty cheap. Most PS1 stuff, other than the RPGs, is pretty cheap. But stuff like, man, the Sega Saturn is one of the most expensive consoles to collect for. Tony Hawk does have a great soundtrack. I see you talking about Tony Hawk in the chat. Dreamcast guy, what is your favorite Panzer Dragoon game? I don't want to give a cop-out answer because normally I do like to answer questions like that, but I can't. For that one, I have to say it's a three-way tie. So I haven't played Panzer Dragoon Saga very much yet, but I have played Panzer Dragoon Zwei, which you can see in my background, and Panzer Dragoon Orta. And they're all really good, but they're all good in the exact same way to me. I probably have to give it to Orta. I like Orta a lot. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Grimm's right in chat. He says, TurboGrafx 16, PC Engine, and Neo Geo are the most expensive. Yeah, that's the console where like some of those games are like $600 each. They're insane. Yeah, Comanche. I saw all those pictures you sent to Sega Saturn stuff. It's awesome. Aldiel Do says, do you think that Red Dead Redemption 2 will be better than the original Red Dead Redemption? Yes, I do think it'll be better, but I feel like it's going to be better just because it's more. The original Red Dead Redemption had such an amazing story, and I like that it sort of created like a moral gray area, in my opinion. Like John Marsden is doing a bad thing. He is killing people. Even if they are bad, he just kills them in cold blood as soon as he sees them. But it created a moral gray area where it still felt like the right thing. But other than that, Red Dead Redemption is a pretty straightforward game. I feel like Red Dead Redemption has the ability, or Red Dead Redemption 2 has the ability to expand on that and create more nuanced gameplay and hopefully a much expanded online. Justin says, how long are you going to grow out that beard? Looking good. I'm going to grow it as much as I can. I want to try and grow on this. You can't even see it on camera. It's so thin here and here, but I do have some here. See here. Happy birthday, Dreamcast guy. What game do you love, but no one else likes? Let me think about that for a second. There's a lot of them. Just off the top of my head, I actually like, there's a Phantasy Star game that everybody hates called Phantasy Star Online. Phantasy Star Online Episode 3 Card Battle. And it's like really busted. It is a really busted game. Basically, there's like two separate factions. There's like a faction that can attack directly and a faction that attacks like with cards. And the cards do stuff like summon creatures. And it's sort of like Final Fantasy Tactics with cards. Really weird. I like it. I've actually beaten it, and I didn't hate it. It's pretty interesting, but people despise that game. Let's see here. Do you think Spider-Man for PS4 will be better than Red Dead Redemption? Happy birthday. Also looking cool. I don't know if Spider-Man would be better than Red Dead Redemption 2, but I feel like they could be on the same level. Spider-Man is looking extremely good, and that studio is really interesting to me because Insomniac Games is a pretty tiny studio, but they're just such fanboys. It's like games made by people who love games. Like I guarantee you 100% right this second, one of those dudes is playing that game in their studio and just like crying. He's so happy because it's so cool. So I feel like that game is going to be really, really fun. So it may not be the better game, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun. Someone said, how's that GameSpot boycott going? Very good. I have not been back to GameSpot once. I almost walked in there a couple months ago. Or I guess it was like a month ago. I was walking past one in a mall with my roommate and I was like, oh, we should go in here for a second. He goes, what about your boycott? I was like, all right, we won't. Congrats on another year of life. I really appreciate the entertainment during work. Keep it up. Cheers, man. Here's to another great year. I'll drink to that. Somebody just said Matrix games. I like the Matrix games. I haven't played very much of Path of Neo. I used to play back in the day Matrix Online, which was really weird. And fun fact, Matrix Online carried on the story of all the Matrix movies, like past the end of them, before it all, of course, got shut down. Dreamcast guy, would you like a Final Fantasy VIII in HD? It was back in my day. It was my first Final Fantasy, and I completed it almost 100%. Yes, I love Final Fantasy VIII. So right now, I'm working on a master file of Final Fantasy IX, getting every single trophy, which is extremely tough. Some of those are ridiculous. One of the trophies actually requires you speedrun the game, and so I would love to see Final Fantasy VIII in HD. Like, I would love to see it come over in the same way Final Fantasy VII has so far and 9 have, where it's like, it doesn't need to be a full remake, but just to bring over the Steam version. That way we can have the assets in 1080p, put in some trophies and stuff like that, just so that I can replay that game on my PlayStation 4 with the crispest visuals possible. Let's see here. Let's see here. What is one of some of the saddest games you've played? I think The Last of Us is probably one of the saddest games. I mean, there's obviously some heavy moments in Last of Us that I feel like land exactly right, especially some of the moments between Joel and Ellie, especially when like Ellie is arguing with Joel. It just hits that note. So they managed to really create a realistic like problem dynamics of like when you argue with people you love, it's not about, hey man, screw you. Instead, it's just being like, man, what happens, man? So yeah, Last of Us is some of the saddest games I've played. It's so good. People are asking how old I am. I am a massive 32 years old. Somebody asked, what's the oddest game you've played? There is a lot of weird games I've played. I feel like one of the ones that really jumps to mind, though, it always comes to mind, is Mr. Mosquito, the game where you like fly around as a mosquito and suck blood out of people, but you can also just fly around and like watch this family shower and stuff. It's one of those games, like at one point you literally land on this lady's boob while she's soaking in the bath and suck blood out of her boob. And that's a real video game that was released in America. It's really strange. Let's see here. Do you think we'll see Final Fantasy on Nintendo ever again? Yes. I feel like what's going to end up happening, though, is Square Enix is supporting the Switch a lot right now, but it seems like they're a little bit hesitant to bring over Final Fantasy for some reason. So I feel like it may be just that they're waiting for Nintendo to extend an olive branch, so to speak. That they want something to try and be like, hey, come on over. So I do feel like we will see one, but it's hard to tell which one. I'd like to see, personally, I would like something like a spinoff of Final Fantasy 15 with the controls and sort of gameplay style of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Like, give us a co-op adventure. Let's see here. Somebody asked, do you need editors? No, I don't. Editing is really hard. I spend about 30 hours a week editing and it kicks my butt. But I work on so many videos. I don't trust an editor. I have to edit all my own videos just because of how much I work. I can't trust somebody else to work as much as I do. I can't afford, if they go slow, it slows me down, you know? Have you ever considered getting into powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting? No, not really. I obviously I lift weights a tiny bit. Look at my tiny biceps. Look at those, my tiny biceps and my tiny shoulders. I like bodybuilding. It's fun. But I would never get into powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting. I'm one of those people that I lift weights because it keeps you healthy and it feels good. Honestly, it's addictive to go in there and like toss some weights around. But I'm not really ever going to try and compete. Do you fact check your videos? Because no offense, your latest rant has some factual errors. I try and fact check my stuff a bunch. But realize I make 22 videos a month on average, so it's one of those things of like, when you're writing so many videos and doing so many reviews, I do make occasional mistakes. I do appreciate. I feel like I like the comment section of my videos a lot because when I screw up, people are respectful. A lot of times the top comments will be like, hey man, you said this, it's actually this, and it happened then. Like people want to join in on the conversation. I don't think I've ever seen the top comment on a video be like, hey dumbass, it's actually, it's like you guys want to help me. So yes, I actually like that. But yeah. Here. Have you played any of the Ace Attorney games? Yep, I have played them. Do you watch football or soccer? No, I don't. I don't know anything. Since my older brother lived in Mexico for 7 years, he loves the World Cup. I don't know anything about it. He made me watch it with him a couple times, but I did not understand what was going on at all. Dreamcast guy, what was your favorite game as a child? I'd probably say GoldenEye. I have to say GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. It was like one of the first games I ever really competed in. Me and my friends played it so much. What do you think about the Star Ocean series? I think the Star Ocean games started out amazing. It's weird. They started out so good and they've kind of gone downhill, but like really slowly. So I feel like first game is phenomenal. Second game is fantastic. Third game is extraordinary. Fourth game, a little bit weird. Fifth game, getting bad, Let's see here. First game you ever played. My first memory ever is actually the first game I ever played, which was Big Bird's Big Egg Hunt on the Atari 2600. And yeah, it was so long ago. It looked like blips and bloops. I'm going to do another 10 minutes here. So if y'all are wanting to ask me any really big questions or do a super chat or whatever, now is the time, because I'm definitely got to get ready. I have to do brother with my dinner here. Or I have to do dinner with my older brother here in a second. Mia Grayscale says, what's your favorite action game? Plus, happy birthday, love you. And they did a little like kissy face. Favorite action game. That's a tough call. Let me think real quick. Favorite action game. There's so many good ones. I probably I might say one of the Yakuza. It's so hard. It's like trying to pick a favorite kid. There's so many good action games out there. Man, what's one I've played like a million times before? I'd probably say Zelda or Ocarina of Time. Like I consider that an action RPG, so to speak. But then I love all the Dark Souls. There's a lot of good ones. I'd say it's a tie between Dark Souls 3 and Ocarina of Time. Let's see. Who is your Resident Evil waifu? Jill Valentine. God of War or Zelda Breath of the Wild? Zelda. That's a really tough call. We're talking by like a trillionth of a percent, though. And I only say Zelda. I say Zelda by the tiniest margin because I think that the art is so unique. I feel like as much as I like God of War, I feel like the art is pretty safe. What is your take on the Phantasy Stars on Sega Genesis? The Phantasy Star games are really, really good. I actually own they did like a re-release on the Game Boy Advance that's super rare. I managed to find a complete in box. But it's called the Phantasy Star Collection. They're super good. It was always weird that they didn't take off more. I know they sold decently, but you'd expect that would still be around. I mean, I kind of figured with how Phantasy Star was the main JRPG on Genesis, you'd expect it to have sold 1 trillion copies, but it really didn't. So do you actually own a Dreamcast? I know you're joking, but let me grab one. I have my Dreamcast right next to me. It's right here. Oh, God. Okay. That's right. Disc popped out. Okay. This is my actual Dreamcast that I play on all the time. You can see my Dreamcast actually has this big scratch down it. I've carried this Dreamcast for, I think, 12 years. This Dreamcast has been with me, and it means so much to me. So he owned a Dreamcast. Dead. Oh man, right. I love this thing. No, actually, I mostly cut it. I dropped it and it bounced a little bit off a jar of salsa. So we're just gonna carefully set that over here. Oh man, chat's eating me alive. All right, I deserve that. Let's see here. Where did you get the name? I explained where I got my name DreamcastGuy from. Can anyone clip him dropping it? Oh god, I'm gonna live with that forever. DreamcastGuy, do you think Sonic will ever have another good 3D game? I don't think so. It's weird because I like Sonic Adventure so much, but it doesn't seem like they know how to make that anymore, which is, it seems so easy. Like, to us, to people who do not design games, it seems so simple to create an open world Sonic, but they just don't. I feel like Sonic Adventure handled it well because the levels were so contained. Every level was like a tight little track. It was like being a Matchbox car with shoes. So it's bizarre that you just have not ever actually gotten to recapture that magic. You change your name to Dreamcast Dropper. Happy birthday, man. Love the new beard, Kratos. Thank you very much there, Mulder and Scully. Hey, by the way, Mulder and Scully, I've seen you commenting for the last year, man. Thank you so much for the support. I really want to extend that to everybody. It's so fun to see. This channel just keeps growing and keeps expanding, and it's amazing to me. And I literally could not do this without all of your help. And so thank you all for, man, pushing me this far. 100,000 is just, I can't believe that I'm currently at 97,000. It's just nuts. I still feel like a YouTuber with like 50 subscribers. Dreamcast Guy, did you ever take a shot every time Kratos said boy? I would die. I would literally just like boy, 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 boy. Boy. Let's see here. What's your first name? My first name is Max. Let's see here. Do you remember Blue Stinger? Of course I remember Blue Stinger. It's super, super funny. Blue Stinger has my favorite bad walking animation ever. I'm going to imitate it here. Whenever you go down the stairs in Blue Stinger, the character basically doesn't have knees. So like whenever he goes downstairs, he's like, oh no, there's a staircase here. Like seriously, sometime go look up gameplay of Blue Stinger and see where he goes down a stairway, because he literally walks like a Barbie doll. It cracks me up. But I do love Blue Stinger, even though I make fun of it. It's so funny. Hey, Dreamcast Guy, what is your favorite anime or manga? Oh, favorite anime? Probably... I really am liking... oh, God, I forgot what it's called. It's called... Drifters. I like the Drifters manga. It's basically like a bunch of the greatest warriors throughout time united in one battlefield. That's pretty cool. I've read some really bad manga in the last couple of years. Like I know everybody, there's this one called Crying Freeman. It's like an assassin who cries as he kills people. I read that. It was not did not like that. I think my favorite anime right now is, or my favorite anime right now is My Hero Academia. And I think my favorite manga is probably Death Note. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. But I'm worried about that Dreamcast you dropped. Thank you everybody for watching. This has been fun, and it's been a nice little 2-hour stream here. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and head out here because I really got to take a power shower before my dinner with my brother. You have all been amazing. It's been a great little time. Oh, there's one last little one here. Big D Hercules says, keep trucking, brother. Happy birthday. Thank you very much there, Big D. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Dreamcast Guy with another random freaking live stream out of nowhere. It's been a very good birthday because of you. Everybody, have a good one. Do me a favor. Play a random video game today in my honor. Thank you so much for watching, and keep dreaming.